Welcome to Purple Honey Farms. My name is Sandy. I am the owner here, and we are in Southern Virginia 7A zone, and we are on the North Carolina Virginia border. So let's hop right into it. Today I'm going to be talking about lisianthus. I'm planting my lisianthus today. Well, I'm starting my seeds today. So lisianthus are very fickle. Okay, maybe they're not fickle, they're fickle to me because they take so long to germinate and actually start that little seedling. And I am not a patient person. Most of you are not either, as I have found. So I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna show you how I do mine. It is one of those plants that I have a love-hate relationship with. This is not my first go around, and I'm gonna be honest, once or twice I've had to scrap the whole thing. But I have done so much research on it lately, and I feel like this is gonna be my year. I have watched several different videos, and I have done tons and tons of research on this, and I really feel like this is gonna be my year. So what you're gonna need is obviously your seeds. You're gonna also need just some starting mix. You're going to need water. You will need, a spray bottle. And I like to use the little toothpick method. A lot of people are used to using this method, and it works out great. So for that, you will need two little bowls, one with water, one without water. You can do the other. I like to use a tub for your dirt. I'll show you that in a minute. You will need, I'm going to use a 72 plug tray, and you will need a humidity dome, or depending on what you're using, you can use, I've seen people use cellophane, just really whatever is good for you. If you don't want to use a plug tray and you like to do things the old-fashioned way, you can definitely use a soil blocker. My soil block is a medium, so it's a little bit big for a lisianthus because those things are tiny. You're also going to need heat mats and some grow lights. That's pretty much it. So it's not a real complicated process. It is the wait process, and I don't like to wait. So let's get started. So I'm just gonna pour, this is a piece of a bag that I have left over from last year. So of course I'm just gonna go ahead and use this up. And this is just seed starter mix. It's really fine. The seeds don't have to compete with all the little pieces of mulch and stuff like that for the water. It's just really, really fine. It clumps together. It's really great for making those seed blocks if that's what you want to make it out of. There's a little bit of dirt left from my last seed planting, so we're just going to mix that all in together. Then I'm going to pour just a little bit more from another bag in there. The second bag that I poured in there, it does have a little bit of perlite in there. For those that don't know, there are these little bitty white pieces that you find in your mix, and those are great because they help kind of soak up the water just a little bit, and it helps with drainage. So those are wonderful. So what I'm going to do now is, when we put lisianthus in there, we don't want them to soak in water. So what we want is we want to have pre-moistened soil so that it can go ahead and have that water there, but it's not going to drown it. So we're going to use some lukewarm water, or you can use just some room temperature water is fine too, but I am outside and it's cold out here, so I'm going to use just some lukewarm water. You don't want it so that when you do that like moisture goes everywhere. You know, you don't want it dripping. that is the same as completely soaking your seeds, and you don't want that. You just want nice pre-wet. I know people don't like the M word, so some wet but not sopping wet dirt. If you're looking for a good consistency for this, like I said, you can just about make it into a ball, but it's not gonna drip water. And if you do happen to get it just a tad bit too wet, you can always just add a little bit more dirt. All right, I think that this is a good consistency for me. I like this consistency. Like I said, it still crumbles. But if you press really hard, you might get a few clumps sticking together. So this is the consistency that I like. Like I said, still loose dirt. So now we are going to put the dirt inside of our plug tray. If you want, before you do this, you can always put a solid tray underneath it so that you don't get any dirt on the floor. But again, I'm in my garage, so it doesn't really matter to me. I can sweep it up later. If you hear any strange noises in the background, my dog actually just had puppies, so we don't have any mice or anything. It's see little babies crying. If you like these plug trays, I actually got them on Amazon. They are the more hard ones than the regular ones. They're a little bit stiffer, and I like that because that just means that I can use them over and over and over. I don't like, there's one of those sticks that I was talking about earlier that I didn't want. I don't really like the real flimsy old ones. I really like these hard ones. So I did splurge a little bit this year and I bought some new plug trays, but I still have my old ones, don't worry. I didn't get rid of them. I'll just use those when I run out of these. Okay, so I dropped it. I went ahead and I did the entire tray. So you can actually put vermiculite on top of this if you want to, just a slight dusting, and this will keep the moisture level down. Something with lysianthus is that you got to keep them moist, but at the same time, they are such slow growers that they will actually get like almost like a mold on a film on top of them. It's just this, I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. People freak out as soon as they see the mold or moss-like looking type stuff, and it really doesn't mean anything except for it's just been sitting there for a while, and it does have a little bit of excess water on it. Like I said, you can throw some vermiculite on there. Just be careful because it can smother out your plant. So we already used our warm water back on empty. So now we're going to get our seeds going. Now I'm only going to do a 72 tray today, strictly because I only have one humidity dome right now. I do have another one. I have several on order, but when we moved, some things got misplaced and somehow or another all of mine got broken. So I am kind of starting over with the domes. If you have been here since last year, you will know that we bought a farm last year, and I am super excited because last year we actually didn't buy it until after it had already been planting time. So I had already bought all the seeds, and all the seeds that I bought were able to fit into the old garden, whereas they would not. They didn't even take up a whole acre here. It was really sad for me because we bought a 30-acre farm, and I am only farming 1 acre this year. Well, last year I farmed just a little bit less than an acre, and this year I'm bumping it up to an acre and a greenhouse. Alright, so lisianthus, I am doing the Arena 3 Gold Pelleted Hybrid lisianthus. They're kind of a white, champagne-y color. They're really pretty. So most of the time they come in these little like tube-looking things, and that's great. So like I said, I'm only going to do 72 of these. I really don't know how many are left in here from last year, so I'm just gonna dump that in there. And this year, when I got my lysianthus packet, I noticed that the tube wasn't in there. So I'm assuming that they have like just a little bitty baggie in there. Let's open it up and see. Because I've seen them do this with other, yeah. It's just like a little bitty baggie. And look how many are in there, guys. It is insane. Can you see? Can you see in there? Oh, that's crazy. So I am going to plant these out, and then my humidity dome should be here any day, and I'll plant the rest of them. So let's get started. Okay, so I am going to attempt to do this one-handed. So you just stick your toothpick in there, and then see, it just picks up one itty bitty, well, if it'll focus. Focus! Okay, apparently not gonna focus. There we go. Oh, went back out again. Alright, so it gets one itty bitty little seed on there. And we are just going to drop that on top. And it is that simple, folks. And if it's nice and wet, you can just stick it on there. We are not going to I don't like to put perlite on top of mine. That is a personal preference. I have seen people do that, but then I lose my seed if I do that. So that's not my favorite method. Now we're just gonna come back down here. So there we go. All right, all 72 are in there. And if you look, I tried to put them directly in the center each time. So there's one. They're just so teeny tiny that they look like the perlite, and which that's fine. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to hold this steady, is I am going to try to mist all of them, keep them down, and I'm going to watch where I'm misting, just so that the seed, because they are so tiny, do not get blown away, because that has happened to me before. With these and with snapdragons. So we are just going to give a light misting at first, so that we don't blow anybody away. And then after that, I'm going to come back in and make sure that everybody gets a good soaking. And what this will do is cause the pellet part to break down, and then that will start your germination. So because I went ahead and I had the soil already pretty much damp, really well and damp, I don't have to do a whole lot of this. So there we go. I will come back about every day and go ahead and mist this again, unless it's like super damp, and then I will make sure to just leave it alone for a day. The humidity dome will keep it pretty moist anyways, but if it gets dry whatsoever, it's getting He's getting some water. So let's put these on the heat mat. Okay, so we got them really nice and pre-soaked. And I went ahead and I put them on our heat mats. These are just some heat mats that I got off of Amazon. They come in a pack of 2, and they're brand new and still rolling up, so I had to put my soil blocker on there. And then of course I am going to go ahead and put my little dome on top of there, a humidity dome. If you have a good way of doing these without having the humidity dome, that's great. Here in the South at this time of year, I just do not. So lysianthus we have to start in very, very early, really late winter, not even early spring, because they're going to be one of the first flowers that is actually going to bloom for us. Well, not bloom, but start growing. So their germination rate it's phenomenal, but it just takes so long. So we start those first. If you're going to start them in the spring, I always start those first. I typically start the first week of January, just because they need to be already in the ground the first week of May. Just as soon as that soil is workable, you need to have your lysianthus in there. And they need to have probably a good 4 leaves on them before that you put them in the ground, just so that your survival rate is going to be a little bit better for them. If you don't want to uproot them, so to speak, and take them and put them into the field, you can always take just a tray or something that you have laying around. I don't really have anything here except for maybe a tulip tray that would be deep enough, and then you just put something in the bottom of it to keep it covered, poke some holes for drainage, and you can just stick these bad boys in your garage and let them grow in your garage the entire time. They're pretty hardy once you get them past that baby stage, so it shouldn't really be an issue. I typically like to keep them in a greenhouse just because they look like a delicate flower. Not to say that they are a delicate flower, but they look at that. I got perlite in my hair. They look like a delicate flower, and so I always worry about bugs. In the South, we have a lot of bugs. So I like to make sure that there are no bugs eating on my lysianthus, because these are your babies. You've had these things since the beginning of January. You're not getting anything from them until the end of May or June. And you have to watch these things like a hawk their entire first 3 months of their lives. So yeah, they're going in the greenhouse. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm going to make sure that I put a picture of the lysianthus that I am growing, the variation that I'm growing here, that you just helped me plant. And we will see you guys in the next one. Bye. The babies. Everybody's sleeping. So I'm gonna focus on the babies. There they are. How precious. Oh, Mama Dog will go. Say hi, Amber. Hi, Amber. You're so good, Mama. Yeah. Say bye. Night, night, puppies. Anybody else feel like they're in the tanning bed when they have their red lights on? Oh, the good old days of the little stickers that you used to stick on your hip bone. Those were the good days.